Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have a special guest. You may have heard around the traps before. If you watched the TGF virtual event back in 2020, you may have seen some of her photos online. So I'd like to welcome Iris Moon. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. So let's get straight into it. Why cosplay?
I'm actually quite new to cosplay. My venture into the cosplay world only started in 2019. I grew up in Canberra, and if you don't know much about the cosplay scene in Canberra, it's because there isn't really one. But in 2019, I moved to Melbourne, and it was just this huge world that I was dying to get into. And so I started my cosplay journey, a couple of years ago.
Oh, fantastic. So what was like your first kind of real cosplay that you did?
I rushed together Raven from Teen Titan, and it was just bits and bobs I grabbed off the internet. I dived into the resin world kind of a little bit to make her chain belt and a couple of the gems, and like the foam covered boots that I had on for that cosplay were absolutely horrendous. I had no idea what I was doing. And then after that, my first proper one was I designed and made a warrior Princess Peach, and that was such a huge undertaking, and I made so many mistakes along the way, but like fell in love with foam and foam building and prop making.
When in your younger days, when you were in Canberra, were you kind of making costumes or anything, even though there wasn't really a scene that you were aware of at the time? Were you making your own sort of things, or you were just kind of observing from afar?
Observed from afar. I would dabble like in Halloween, but I would never make my own costume then. I think the first time I sewed was in school in year 11, and then didn't dive back into sewing until like 2019, and I undertook a huge task for sewing as well. So I didn't really like walk in through the shallow end. I just dove straight into the deep end and drowned, and then learned how to swim.
Well, that's the best way to do it. Then
Yeah.
that's where you kind of discover yourself and what you want to do and what you want to
Yes.
achieve, and also learning from others. Now, I'm aware that you do kind of you're involved with a number of other kind of cosplayers out there, and you get involved with some activities. So what was some of the first activities you actually kind of got involved with when you first kind of got into the cosplay scene here in Melbourne?
So for the first 6 months, I kind of just float along the edges. I met a few great photographers, Kurt Bellamy being one of them, and he took amazing photographs of one of my cosplays. And then I remember Kelly Deluxe, who you interviewed last year, she put up a post on their Melbourne cosplay community asking for a few Sailor Scouts, and I used to love Sailor Moon growing up. In fact, a few months earlier, I dressed up, I did a mashup with Sailor Moon and Darth Vader and created Sailor Vader.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I heard about this Sailor Moon group, I was like, oh, I really, really want to get into it. And they were looking for a few characters, one of them being Chibiusa, who's quite small. She's the child of the big group. And so I asked if I could be Chibiusa, and she said yes, and I jumped in and I got involved. We had to make pom-poms. We all had these matching outfits. And then I rocked up on the day so nervous because I had never, I'd seen them all at the cons and looked from afar and was just amazed by everyone. And then I got to dive in, and I was so nervous meeting everyone. And it turned out that I was one of the tallest people there, which makes for very funny group photos. And from there, I kind of just slid into the cosplay community and became a part of it. So after that, I think I didn't make not too many group cosplays, just with timings and everything, and I planned to do quite a lot. For PAX, there's this huge Project Ebon Blade group that they use art done by Zach Fisher, and it's kind of like a Death Knight style of World of Warcraft characters, and I jumped into that not knowing anyone either, and made my then second foam build, Onyxia, and that was, if I thought Princess Peach was just like this insane thing, Onyxia was next level. I learned all about making molds and casting and using Warbler and doing some dodgy lighting work. But that group was also welcoming. I haven't met anyone before, and they just welcome you with open arms. So yeah.
It's a very expressive, like I sometimes say hobby, but it's a very kind of it's more like a lifestyle, really, because
Yes.
for many it's a very expressive lifestyle, because you're able to kind of venture out outside the norm. And one thing I noticed for many years is kind of more the acceptance of kind of cosplay in the kind of the general public, as opposed to many years ago it was like, oh, okay, yeah, who's that person dressing up? But now it seems to be like, if you jump, if there is an event on like a Supernova or PAX, or even one of my events, and people are traveling in trains and other people see people dressed up, they just kind of go, it's a novelty. It's kind of adds to it, like, oh, look at that, isn't that amazing? Or, oh, obviously they're going to such and such. It's kind of it's a more an acceptance. But really, yeah, it's a real it's an opportunity for you to kind of artistically express yourself where you may not have the opportunity to.
Yes, I have always been very creative and always loved doing creative things. Like I did pottery for a number of years, and then would do like many different arts and the crystal art and painting. And then I always looked at, like, I think it was the year before I moved to Melbourne, so in 2018, I didn't have the capacity or the room or the time to do cosplay, but I was like, man, that stuff is cool. And then I came to Melbourne, and Melbourne in Australia is truly the hub of cosplay. Like, there are just so many opportunities here. There's all the cons, PAX is here, PAX being huge, and yeah, just a number of various different events, and it is incredibly accepted. Like, you walk around and you see people doing shoots on the street or in the Botanic Gardens, whereas as Canberra, it's very, because I've moved away from Melbourne now, unfortunately, it's nothing like that. It's still it's such a small city, and you see someone in costume and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird, like, what are you doing? We have, Canberra's got one convention, and it's GammaCon, and that itself is tiny. So no, it is. Sorry, I completely derailed myself. It is truly like a wonderful way to express yourself in various different characters. You can become a whole new person. It's like, oh, this day I'm going to be a princess, this day I'm going to be a gaming character or whatever. No, it's awesome.
And I think from, if you look at it from, I think a mental health sort of thing, it gives a lot of people something to kind of aim for, as opposed to, okay, I've got my job or I've got my schooling, or that's all I have. But it's like, hey, well, this event I know is going to be in 12 months time. This is 18 months time, whatever it is. And I've got these opportunities to make these things. So it's like goal setting going on, and then keep things to actually look forward to. So your quality of life in many respects is probably a lot higher than most, because you've got that expression to be able to do that.
Yes, definitely. And it is a goal that is truly enjoyable to reach, and along the way being able to create is truly fun. While there is the stress and the classic con crunch that people fall into, me being one of them a lot, it's just the ability to be like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go to this event, and people are going to appreciate it. And the community of cosplay is just this amazing thing that I've never seen before. It's this huge acceptance of everyone, and doing all sorts of characters, whether it's your classic character or some weird mashup like Sailor Vader. Like, everyone just loves it, and everyone's happy to be involved, and everyone loves trading tips and helping each other out. It's awesome, and really, really good for mental health.
Now, I'm aware that you've got some images you want to share, so we're going to talk through some of your creations and styles. So if you want to, let's bring up the first one.
I'd love to start with Princess Peach, because I feel like Princess Peach is truly where it began for me. And this is a photo that Kurt took after the event. That sword I made and put LEDs along it. That was RGB for the rainbow effect that the star gives. But like, that whole foam build was just this insane thing. I made so many mistakes along the way, but learnt a lot. And then from that foam build, I then have the Onyxia's comparison. And this photo was taken by Jared Burns. And I just like, even like looking at it myself, the improvement from Princess Peach to then Onyxia was huge. And like that belt I made, the belt skull, I was very, very proud of. I made it all out of foam, did it all myself. And I had quite a few people on the day saying, oh, did you get that 3D printed? Which just for me was such a huge compliment, because I was like, oh my gosh, no, like I did this myself. And it was a truly, sorry?
Yeah, can we go back to the image? Because I was going to say is that, yeah, we can go back to that one. I was going to say it's such, like, you know, photography makes a big thing, but it's such movie quality. It looks like a preview photo for an upcoming film. So it's the sort of thing. Yeah.
Jared Burns is an incredible photographer. I've shot with him quite a few times, and he just makes these amazing photos, such good direction, and his lighting, is incredible.
So how long did this take you to make?
So I jumped into the group quite late on in the piece. This was for me maybe 3 to 4 months. A lot of it was like I had quite a lot of late nights. For this one, I dived into the airbrushing world, which made painting a lot faster. My gauntlets, the skulls, I made a master copy, then made a mold, and then poured liquid plastic, so I didn't have to try and recreate the same thing twice. But towards the end, it truly was the crunch, especially when I added the fabric and the sewing. And for quite a long time, I wasn't too sure along the edges of my the skirt characters, and in the drawing of Zach Fisher, they're all very different characters, and where I wanted to kind of add my own little spin to it, and in runic characters, I actually spelled out one of Onyxia's quotes from the game. So yeah, that was a whole process in itself. I never do anything never do anything like I never sorry yeah. I either buy a costume and add like maybe a wig and then my makeup myself, or I just make everything. Another example of that, so after I made Onyxia, so PAX was in October in 2019, I then was doing a Disney shoot in November, and I bought this Snow White costume off the internet, and it arrived, and it was just terrible quality. There was rips in it already. It didn't look any good. I was like, well, I may as well make it. Like, this is ridiculous. And I actually called my mum up, because she is an incredible sewer and used to have her own small business. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Do you think I can do it? And she's like, I don't actually know if you can. Like, you haven't sewed in since school. This is very, very complicated. But I got it done, and I was very proud of it. And this is my Snow White, and I added an extra layer on top for the skirt to give it that shimmery look. But this was an incredible shoot, and this was my dive into sewing more costumes. And there were these all these little kids at the Botanic Gardens just were so excited. There was a whole group of us actually, and I'll show a photo now, who were so excited to see so many Disney princesses. And we would do individual shots and group shots, and the kids would come up to you, and it's just this beautiful, magical world that you're in as a kid, and you have princesses and Santa, and it's honestly magical, and you just can't take that away from it or replicate it in adult life. And so being able to be a part of it again as a princess was just heartwarming, honestly. And I like to add a little bit of flair on a lot of my cosplays, and so for my Snow White, I actually custom made myself some shoes to match, and I got some pop vinyls and grabbed some glitter and then made these heels, so it was like an evil queen and a Snow White to match my Snow White dress. So I haven't made a lot of cosplays in the last year, I guess just with lockdown, but the Tech Games Fest last year, I entered in one of your competitions as Aang, using a bunch of bed sheets, and that I recently had shaved my hair because it was something I wanted to do for a long time, and then I thought it was blonde hair, it kind of looks bold, I'll paint some blue on, and then I just grabbed a bunch of bed sheets, and that really helped me, I guess, get back into the swing of things. Like, you know, this cosplay stuff is awesome, and just because cons aren't a thing, I can still create in my home. And then I met a photographer here in Canberra, because being in Canberra, yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity, but Bento Baggins, we've caught up a few times, and we've just been creating. While it's not specific characters, it was just random. You know, I was like, let's create something, and it doesn't have to be in a character; it can just be an original character. And we went from there, and I fell in love with. That's another thing that the cosplay community is really good for. One of the cosplayers who actually was also in the project, Elon Blade, she's started her own small business, Kawaii Kitty Store, and makes these wonderful ears that I now have probably way too many pairs of, but these bunny ears being one of these things. But, you know, I've just gone from doing characters, and you know what, I kind of want to be a little bit more creative and create my own characters that I can just, you know, do whatever in, and it doesn't matter. And so I sewed that bodysuit, got the wig and got the ears from Kawaii Kitty Store, and went from there. Yeah, it's just been a wild journey, and it's slowly getting back into the swing of things this year. Being interstate now gets a little bit harder to do things, but I managed to come down to Supernova a couple of weeks ago, and I squeezed in a shoot at Creative Freedom with Chuang Photography, and then went to Supernova on a Sunday with Kelly and Morgan, and we went as a couple of Kakaguri characters and got this incredible photo from Keyframes, the whole group shot of us that I just thought looked absolutely epic, like the lighting, our poses, just everything about it. We got the blazers off an Etsy store, and then the skirts that you really can't see in this photo we all made ourselves to all match. And another part of cosplay that is just, while I'm separated, I'm still very much a part of it, and still have this wonderful group of people and these friends that, you know, I've met a couple of years ago, and I felt like I've known for a very, very long time.
I think it's interesting is looking at a lot of your photos, it's like a complete transformation every time. It looks like a totally different person. I think if you put them in a row and ask someone, okay, who's who, as in the person underneath the costume, I don't think they would realize it's the same person every time.
That's such a huge compliment, because it's what you strive to be. You know, you don't want to be yourself. You want to transform into that character every single time. That's one of the things I love about cosplay, is like I can be whoever I want to be. I can, you know, if I create this outfit, put this wig on, do some makeup, I can become a wonderful different person. And it's the escapism that I get a lot from, you know, a very immersive video game, or like fantasy books that I love. You know, you immerse yourself so much into it, you can kind of escape for a little bit, and cosplay is just like a walking version of that.
Yeah, and the one thing is, like that first photo you showed with, and like you said you added LEDs to the actual thing. Yeah, because it looks, in the photo, it looks like it's like a Photoshop filter, but I think that's amazing that you've actually been able to, you know, add some bit of extra tech to that to make it really stand out, because it looks absolutely amazing.
It was really, really nerve-wracking, because I have I think I've got another photo in a different color. Here's another better photo of it, that you can truly see the lights, and if you look quite closely you can see the individual LED lights. For the con, I forgot to charge, so that the star holds a battery pack, which is how the LEDs are powered, and you can actually lift the lid off the stars. I made it magnetic, and I completely forgot. I was so stressed about everything. I forgot to charge it the night before the con, and so I got to the con, and the lights weren't working, so I was walking around the whole day. I've actually got a photo from the con with it off, but I still thought it looked pretty cool, because it's just this giant star sword. But it just looked like that all the day, and I couldn't truly show like the amazing part of the sword, which to me was the RGB lights. So yeah.
No, you look so different in every photo.
I've run into a few people that I knew before I started cosplaying, and I'm like, oh my God, hi. And they just give me the blankest look. They're like, who are you? And it's like, it's me, like Iris, you know. And they're like, oh my gosh, wow. So yeah, it's good fun. It also makes it very hard when you if you only like, there's quite a few people that I socialize mostly at conventions, and every time you see that at a convention, you're like, are you who I think you are? I'm not too sure, because the last time, you know, I saw you as this character and now you're this character. So
Fantastic.
yes. Yeah.
You got any more images you want to showcase?
I have a couple more. This is another one from Bento Baggins that it was just this random character that I decided, you know, a couple of stuff that I had at home, I threw it all together and then created this. The collar I got from this other amazing store, Leonora Designs, who was also in Project Ebon Blade group. And then I have, this is from my Where's Wally shoot that I did at Creative Freedom when I was down in Melbourne a couple of months ago. I was originally going to be doing this other character, but unfortunately in the process of making it broke at the last second. And so I quickly threw all this together. I was like, well, I'm changing it to Where's Wally now because I don't really have anything else. And then I do want to share, this is my first, sorry?
Okay. Yep, no, go, keep going.
My first cosplay, nope, I've lost the photo. This, I like to try and reuse things wherever I can for a cosplay, and the wig from this Bulma that I did, I'm actually wearing right now for Officer Jenny, because you can accumulate so many things as a cosplayer that I try to reuse everything best where I can. Another example of that is I did Lola Bunny, and I used the same wig I did for Princess Peach. That wig I don't have anymore, and I'm upgrading to another wig. I've passed that wig on to a friend. But yeah, it's just, you know, if I have whenever I try to plan characters now, I try to figure out a way that how can I turn this wig and reuse it for another character, but still keeping a very similar shape. Yeah.
Yeah, because you actually answered my question, because I was going to say, do you have a lot of wigs, and how much is your real hair? But you went and answered it. You answered it anyway. So
I have so many wigs. I recently, I gave that blonde wig to another friend, and I got a new blonde wig, one that I used for my Mary cosplay, the one from Supernova. I've got another shot of that. But I'm also going to use that for Lola, a Lola Bunny. So the pigtails are actually just clips. And so I can have two in for Mary. And then when I do Lola Bunny, I can just put one clip at the back. My hair used to be shoulder length. Mm-hmm. And when it was shoulder length, it was a little bit more time consuming putting wigs on, because you'd have to braid it and then pin it all up. But I shaved my hair last year, and it's still quite, I then shaved it again at the end of the year, because I don't know, once I shave my hair, I did it many, many years ago, and it's just this addicting thing. It's so easy to look after. And when you wear wigs, it's easy. Or you put a wig on, and then that's that.
Yeah. What's interesting, looking at the photo from last year where you said you'd shaved your hair, looking at closer, now I didn't realize you had actually had hair. I thought you were like bald. So in the photo, I think it was more from a distance. So it's like,
in AIM?
I thought, yes, I thought it was, I remember seeing the image, and because it was so small on the screen, I was like, wow, she's totally bald.
Commitment.
Wow, really gone for it. But now I can see that you've actually got that your hair's really, really short. So
I have, my hair's naturally dark brown, but I dyed it blonde for a short period of time, and it blended in very, very well. So I saw the opportunity.
One thing I was going to ask you. Yep. Yeah, one thing I was going to ask you, and I know this afflicts a lot of people who do cosplaying, is heat, the temperature. You know, you get hot under those wigs. Is the costumes get really hot, and how do you stop your makeup from kind of, messing up or running due to excess, perspiration?
I've learned to plan what cosplay I will do depending on what month. Though when I did Princess Peach, that was in the winter time or in the cooler months, and so I had a black bodysuit under, but because I had so many layers on top, and I didn't understand how warm foam can be with the wig on, and I was just overheating in the convention because there's all this body heat. I was like, wow, I did not think this through. So it is definitely it is what it is. There's really no fix to it except for, or maybe just wear like a cooler outfit. Since shaving my hair, the wigs are cooler. When I have hair on top of my head, there's just more heat. And in regards, makeup has actually been another learning journey for me. I've learned to invest in good makeup, and it makes a difference. And finding a very good setting spray helps keep everything locked in. So I am for Anixia from PAX, I dived in very, very briefly into the world of body paint, and the probably only disappointing thing I have about Anixia is my body paint for the day. It looked horrendous. It was flaky. I had no idea what I was doing. I should have done a practice run, but I didn't because I ran out of time. So that's something I still need to figure out. But there are quite a lot of resources out there and books and YouTube tutorials to help me through it and everyone else through it. And that's basically what they're my Bibles or other people's, experiences. Kamui Cosplay, she's incredible, incredible cosplayer. And she has so many books, and I have so many of her books, and I've learned a lot from her and other people. So I don't know, you hope for the best when you wear a cosplay. Like, I hope this works out. I hope nothing falls out or falls off or breaks. Still figuring it out, really.
Yeah, and so like when you do your photo shoots, is like you probably have a bit more flexibility to be able to fix up hair and drink a lot of water or that sort of thing.
Yes, definitely. Even at conventions, I think one of the good things about either photo shoots or a convention and when you're taking photos is it's always great to have, whether you're in a group cosplay and you can help each other out and fix each other's hair, or you're going to a shoot just by yourself and you bring a friend along to help you. Because while you can maybe if I fix my hair this way, but you're in an area or in a location and you don't really have like that mirror in front of you anymore, and it's like the people looking at you truly know what you're looking like. So always having a friend or a helper along is an invaluable resource to have. So,
and now when you go to like the big conventions, are you in full costume on the way there, or do you put so much of it on when you arrive and also when you depart?
I've just been in full costume every single time. So I usually, quite a few of the times I've driven there, so it's a lot easier to drive in full costume. The few times I've caught a train, but like Melbourne, everyone's in costume on convention day. So, and then if I'm on the way back, if I can take off any part of my costume, I will. Usually the wig is the first to go. When you're done, and the wig can come off, and it's just this taking the wig off at the end of the day is a great feeling.
And now, and the other thing is, when you're at a convention, do you say it's a 3-day or a 2-day convention? Are you in the same costume day 1, day 2? Do you only go to 1 day, or do you change it up?
So I like to change it up. If I'm going multiple days, variety is the spice of life, and you want to showcase, I want to do this this day, and then I'm going to completely change character for this day. I do like to try have a comfort cosplay, so something that is not so, I guess, painful, and it's easy to wear. And my Bulma being one of them, where Anixia was this, looked really good but wasn't that comfortable to wear. So I was at PAX for a period of time, and then I actually went back home and I changed, and then I just got into comfy gear and went back to PAX for the evening. So it's I definitely like to have multiple outfits, and I definitely like to have one of them being this purely comfort cosplay outfit.
Fantastic. Now we're coming close to the end of the interview, and there's a few things I want to ask you. It's like outside of cosplay, what do you have other interests? So like in the movies, I'm assuming you're into anime as well.
Yes.
Video games, collecting. Do you have some other interests that are kind of connected? Because most people, who are, even if they're not a cosplayer and they're into pop culture, there's something else there.
I'm very, I guess, recent into the whole video game world, and I only started playing video games in 2017, 2018, but it's just been this I started off with 3 games on Steam, and now I can't tell you how many games I have in my library. I'm obsessed with Minecraft at the moment. I think about it when I'm not playing it, and then I am playing it, and I just can't get enough of it. I love sewing. So this year I haven't been able to use as much foam and build foam just because of my living circumstances, but I love sewing, and I've sewed quite a lot of my own clothes, which also takes up a lot of my time. So I think sewing probably transfers the most into cosplay. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Now, for those people who are watching this during the TGF stream, we're going to have some information on the TGF Facebook page and also in the attach on Twitch, a lot of Iris Moon's social media. But if you're watching this on YouTube months later on the Cause and Effects Gamers YouTube channel, we're going to have all of Iris's social media links and everything down in the description. On behalf of TGF and Cause and Effect Gamers, I'd like to thank you for sharing all your interests and showcasing a lot of your photos. So thank you very much, Iris.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. This has been a truly pleasure.
All right, thank you. Okay.